Hey everyone, welcome. This is Fiber Strike 95 here, and today we're here to redo yesterday's flight. As you recall, yesterday it did not go very well. There was a massive photogrammetry bug, and I had some issues trying to fix it, but I never could really fix it. Well, now that the photogrammetry's back, I decided, you know what? I think it'd be great to redo the whole flight. And I know that it may seem weird that someone wants to redo everything, but I want to do things right. And I think if we kept everything without photogrammetry, it would be really unfair for the series, and it would degrade what the series truly means. It's a celebration of baseball. And what's the point of learning about baseball if we don't fly over the ballparks? So we're actually here today. We're returned back to Lafayette, Indiana, at Purdue University Airport, right outside of West Lafayette. And our flight plan is the exact same as last time. We fly through West Lafayette. We'll be heading to Champaign, Illinois to visit the University of Illinois. Then from there, we visit the state capital of Illinois, Springfield. And finally, we will finally get the true opportunity to visit downtown St. Louis. Visit Busch Stadium, the University of St. Louis, the St. Louis Brews, and especially the Gateway Arch. So that's kind of a bit of our thing today. So just kind of simple, and want to do things properly this time. Any one of you that wants to join me, I'm always available on the East USA server. I'm also on the Tone Murphy Join FS server. And as Martel172 says hello, hey Martel, I don't usually stream this time, but now that the photogrammetry's back, I want to redo this flight. And I know, and like I said, I know it's kind of hard for me to redo it, but I want to do this right. So it's good to see you, Martel. Thank you for coming in. So yeah, it looks much better now that all the photogrammetry and the beam data stuff is finally back. So I'm happy that we could finally do this again, and I think it'd be really good. So we just go back the way we came. So for the trip, now I'm not going to take the comp for this one. I want to take something a bit faster for the trip. So for me, I'm taking the Cessna 152. This is one of the most popular and beloved training aircraft. This was produced by Cessna in Wichita, Kansas. And this thing in the game, according to the game, this thing has a cruising speed of 107 knots. It has a range of around 400 nautical miles. And this thing is powered by a 110 horsepower engine, which is quite nice. This is a very popular training plane. There's even an aerobatics version, the Aerobat, has been around, and over 7,584 Cessna 152s have been produced, making this incredibly popular and cheap. This is just a really good all-around training plane. This is just an excellent all-around plane. You can put stall kits on this. You can make it a tail dragger if you really wanted to. It's quite the versatile little plane that really could. So this is really nice as well. And I mean, this is also the first one you guys get to fly in the simulator during your training and such. So this is just really good. Now, I need to go change one more thing. Since I had to rechange it back to Legacy, so I need to do it. Now, according to the lockpick, and let's see who else in the chat. I see that Friends All's in the chat. Parrot66 is in the chat. Ingelfur's in the chat. Billy Weiler's in the chat. Farming Girl. Hello, everyone. Welcome to chat. I want to, if Judge Judy Slayer is still here, thank you for the follow. So I want to get this engine started. So I need to open there's that valve. Yeah, push the mixture, set the rich. Carburetor heat is cold, that's fine. I need to prime the engine, so it needs 1, 2, 3. Good afternoon, says Paris6. Great to see you again. I'm redoing yesterday's flight. I'm on Kilo Lima Alpha Foxtrot. If any of you want to join me, I'm trying to get this 152 started up. I'm trying to get this 152 back started up. Turn on the bad electric master switch. Now she started the tachometer. I need to turn on the beaker. Now there are actually some really good really good mods for the 152. I know JP just is the photogrammetry working for me again? Absolutely, Martel, it's working again. It just worked with me earlier on, and I decided with Murphy not streaming, with no one else really going to take the streaming stuff, I decided, you know, I think it'd be a good time to redo the whole flight, Martel. So now it's working again. I just did a test flight over Louisville. I saw that it's working the way it should. So the photogrammetry is back. Hey, Dangerous Brian, good to see you again. It's great seeing you, Dangerous Brian. Thank you for coming. Yeah, this is excellent news, Martel. This is excellent news. As I need to get the pushback to stop. Good news. Yes, I'm back. So for the runway, I think it's just very simple. The simple thing is we run back to runway 23. We're gonna go right back to runway 23. So yesterday wasn't really working well. So it's now that everything's working the way it should, I can finally get back to flying the planes again. And since I think the Cub is a little slow, I'm going to take the 152, since it's going to be a bit quicker. And this will be a little quicker since I probably know this information still. Let me go ahead and let's see what kind of other settings. So traffic nameplates. Okay, everything's good the way it is. Good, good. Just making sure everything works the same way. Now, everything should be cleared. Now for the slideshow, I decided I'm just going to go over it briefly. Cardinal Courage, obviously, it's the same as last time. Named after the St. Louis Cardinals. We're in Lafayette. This was incorporated in 1825. And the West Lafayette area is most well known for Purdue University, which includes some of the most famous alumni you could think of. Like Neil Armstrong, Gus Grissom, John Wooden, and a lot more. Drew Brees, Orville Redenbacher, Herman Cain, Gene Ceron, I mean, so many other people. But in addition to those, Purdue, Lafayette, Indiana is also known for Bob Friend, an all-star pitcher, Ray Early, one of the most successful Olympians of all time, and the iconic singer for Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose. So we're going to be going ahead, and I'm going to get ready for the flight. Press to the throttle. I'm going to put one stage of flaps. So it's actually great to finally be back in here, and the sim looks so much better than yesterday. I'm so happy now that everything's working the way it should. This is awesome. Now she's off. And this is actually a pretty nice plane. This is a very nice plane to fly. The Cessna 152 has always been a long-time favorite of mine in the sim. Oh yeah, look at this. The full trees. Oh, this sim is looking so good again. Thank God they got the servers fixed today. So I decided, you know, to redo the whole baseball server stream. Now, usually I stream on Fridays and Sundays. Fridays is the Bush Fight series. Yeah, the 152 sounds great. I'm hoping that this is not too loud. So basically, this Friday I got a all Washington State trip with and I'm gonna take it with a dedicated bush plane that's actually been produced here in Yakima, Washington. That be the Cub Crafters X Cub. But this won't be your average Cub Crafters though. I know a few good friends of mine, and I know a good few friends of mine that have been following my channel. A certain group called Bush League Legends. I'm going to be showing off one of their mods. Captain Butters says good evening. Good evening to you, Captain Butters. Great to see you here. Thank you for coming. Oh yeah, this sim looks a million times better. I'm so happy. So definitely very nice flying. Just want to make sure I'm still online. Okay, just making sure everything works. Because I usually don't see really any name tags. Yeah, absolutely beautiful flight. It looks so much. Is my photograph? Kozaki Flyers in the chat. My good friend Kozaki, good to see you. Yes, my photogrammetry's working now. I just found out 30 minutes ago. I put up the sim. I try not to get in the sim too much. I booted up 30 minutes ago, and it's now working. And now that my photogrammetry is working, I'm gonna make sure I do this properly, and I'm gonna redo the whole thing. I know it seems weird for me doing it, but I wanted to redo this properly this time. And I'm in the Cessna 152, and I agree with Martel. The Cessna 152 is just such a great plane. I love the Cessna 152. It has been a long-time favorite plane of mine. I'm on the East USA server, Captain Butters. Oh, okay. I wanted to actually have some sound there, Brian. Just let me go adjust the sounds. Okay. I think that should probably sound better now. I want to have some engine sounds, so that way I can hear the environment and such. But I don't want it to be over blaring. Look at this, I got the cockpit view. So yes, I'm an East USA server. But now that we got a faster plane for the journey, this should make the flight a lot easier. Much better, mate. Thank you, Brian. What? Yeah, I had to cite. I tried everything it did at KLAF, yes, but actually, if you want to spawn a bit later, 4IN7 would be good. Let me type it in. That'd be Riley Field here. That way you can catch up with me a bit easier. It's a bit further ahead, but you also don't have to worry about waiting for me nearly as much. That's weird. I usually see people show up. I need to actually... Let me go ahead and do some... Sorry, I had to redo... see if multiplayer was going to show up. Yeah, it looks much better. So Captain Butters, I gave you the code, the ICAO. It's Riley Field, which is located near Attica on the banks of the Wabash River. So I give you that as a code. This plane's really smooth too. This is a really smooth plane. Join a different server and come back to this one? Okay. Kazaki Flyer, let me join West USA server. Then join back in the East. Let me try North Europe. Let's see. So I'm trying to do that and see if people show up. If not, I might, when we get to our first stop, I'm going to probably exit out of this, just exit this and get back to the main menu and see if anyone else is back in. That way I can make the readjustment to the settings and do things properly that time. But at least the photogrammetry's working now. So, now we get to the first part. We're going to be visiting Champaign, Illinois. Now, Champaign, Illinois is actually the 10th most populous city in Illinois. And it's mainly home to the University of Illinois at Urbana alumni. And basically, the University of Illinois is one of the great land-grant universities as well. But in addition to the University of Illinois, Champaign is also known as the hub of the Silicon Prairie because many companies have set up shop here in Champaign. Some notable landmarks: Memorial Stadium, the football stadium for the fine alumni football team. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main menu and do that. I'm going to take Friend for All's request. Let me go ahead and... I wanted to... I mean, the photogrammetry's working perfectly. I disabled the desktop audio because it can be a bit loud. I'm going to take off here at there you go. Okay, that wasn't turned on. Sorry about that. I'm going to load back in. The airport is close to my route for into all, so let me get back. Let me get this bad boy back in the air. Try to do a stall landing, stall takeoff. Hey, I'm back. Now I see people's name tags. That's awesome. So back to my slideshow. Now, also including the Virginia Theater and the Illinois Terminal. Those are other landmarks here in Champaign. Now, some notable people include Bruce Hall, the lead bassist for the local band of the area, REO Speedwagon. Alison Krauss grew up in Champaign. And Steve Chen and Joad Kareem are two of the most well-known University of Illinois alumni. And these two in particular actually made YouTube one of the most popular social media platforms on the planet right now, with billions watching videos every single day. So definitely a big deal. Now the University of Illinois also have other alumni too, and there's a lot of alumni to begin with. There's quite a few astronauts. How about one of the most unusual Illinois creators, Bruce Artwick, and he's the creator of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yes, the creator of Flight Sim is actually from the University of Illinois, which is pretty awesome. Let me get back to the route. Look at that. There's the Wabash, guys. From the Wabash River, man. Isn't that cool? But let me get back to the route. So I want to ask you guys in the chat, how has your all's weekend been? How has your all's weekend been since there? I know some of you probably heard that again from me yesterday, but I want to ask some of you who weren't there yesterday to know how your all's weekend has been. And according to my Joint FS, I see Butters is actually in the 145. Because, you know, he got early access to the new helicopter. Now, like I said back Friday, I cannot say for my life fly that helicopter. I can fly bush planes. I can land within 30 feet using a bush plane. In fact, if you need me to, I can use an airliner. Even though they're not my specialty. Don't expect me to fly in a chopper. Please. Tigger165, hello, welcome in the chat, Tigger. Good to see you. Weekend was good. Went to a large farmers market, and you did some outdoor grilling. Nice. And watch a few Blue Jays games. Yes, the Blue Jays. Yeah, that's awesome. The Blue Jays actually have some really good young talent on that team. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for MVP? That's probably a good question. Either Shohei Ohtani or Vladdy Jr. is going to take that MVP. Really depends on who you ask. So for me, friend all says, like Andrew Arnold says, famously said in the movie Predator, get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. Yeah. He said that in the famous movie The Predator. In fact, my older brother has both the Predator movies and the Alien movies. Mainly the first two Alien movies as well. Let me go ahead and put this into showcase. Yeah, what a beauty. Cessna 152. You can't beat with a simple good old aviation trainer. You can't beat any of that. You can't beat a good old train plane, that's for sure. So for me, my past weekend, outside of having that failed stream, was actually quite good. I've been working on working on flight plans for my Friday bush trips. Just going a few ideas that I know of. And then today I was working on for this upcoming Sunday's trip to Kansas City. So I've been working on about not just talking about the Royals. I was also planning on doing I'm also going to talk about the thing called the Negro baseball leagues, which were black baseball leagues that existed between the 1880s to the 1950s. And the reason I wanted to do it is because in Kansas City there is a baseball museum dedicated to that forgotten era of baseball. And basically, the reason those leagues existed was because if I mentioned in Chicago, there was a lot of racial segregation stuff that went on, and due to that, the black baseball players had to be forced to play in those leagues. So that's what I'm planning to do on Sunday, is talk about those players, talk about the history of those leagues, and the legends that came from it. And I think it's very important because that's something a lot of newer or casual fans don't really know about it. Let's see who else in the chat. I see that Dougal Batavage is on the chat. Good to see you. And Mr. Ironside's in the chat. Good to see that you're here. Buck Owens was brilliant in his interviews with Ken Burns. Yep. I never got a chance to watch the whole baseball series. Like, I try to get the documentary, but it's quite expensive. But yeah, that's a great one. Buck Owens. Yep, Buck Owens. I think you meant Buck O'Neill, but Buck O'Neill was a very well-known player in the Negro leagues, and he was a great ambassador. And in fact, on my Discord, I posted a picture on my sports media on there. It was a really nice documentary from Kansas City PBS, and it talked about the 100 years since the foundation of one of those baseball leagues. And that was a really neat documentary, and I think this would be something that needs to be talked about. But yeah, those are kind of my plans as well. I just think I'm trying to bring up topics that I think more people should really know about, and I think that... Oh yeah, and the Kansas City Monarchs, of course. I'll talk about the Monarchs because for my episode title, it would be called Royal Heritage, and it goes all the way back to the Monarchs. Absolutely, the Kansas City Monarchs. One of the other well-known teams were the Homestead Grays, and they had some amazing players that played for that team. And I mean, in fact, they had some of the all-time greatest players to ever play the sport played on those teams. Josh Gibson for example, Joshua Gibson, who played for the team, he was compared to Babe Ruth as one of the greatest all-time players. Like, I'll talk more in that episode, but that just shows you that if racial segregation wasn't a thing, those players would be well known by more people as of today. But because the fact is there wasn't really much documentation about it, that's probably why I want to do it. But I think it's good for me to talk about that sort of thing. I actually allow it because he had Negro League, I actually keep it because that's actually what they're officially called, is the Negro League. That's actually what it's called. Yeah, it was due to the lack of statistics. Yeah, that was also a major issue because not many people really know about those leagues due to racial segregation. That kind of was a big deal. Oh yeah, Satchel Paige. Yeah, Satchel Paige was a huge part of that team back in the day. Like I said, I'll talk more about that next this upcoming Sunday. But yes, absolutely, Satchel Paige was the first one of those players to be in the Hall of Fame. Yes, Satchel Paige. I mean, just imagine Satchel Paige made his MLB debut at age 42, which is still pretty crazy to think about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, hey, Alec D. Good to see you, Alec D. Nice to see you. I don't usually stream, but I'm going to redo this flight. That now that the photogrammetry is working, I'm going to redo yesterday's flight. So, that way I can get it done properly. Since now that everything's working again. I see your lights now. Great, Kazaki. Wonderful. I'm just glad that I can finally get back to doing this fight properly. It just makes me happy we get to actually do some of this sort of things. So, I saw some of the pictures Murph posted on his Discord. My good friend Two-Tone Murphy. He posted this on the Discord. Real World Aviation. He went to that aviation museum, and that looked really awesome. Got to see some classic planes of his. Those measures with BF 109s, Eagles. Got to see a Blackbird, Spitfires, Stearman. I could tell Merv had a good time flying over there. So yeah, Merv had a good time. I'm hoping, and I think big things are coming on Tuesday. But like I said, I'm ready to actually I'm ready for September 7th. Get the new world update, explore more Germany and Austria, and fly the Ju-52, which will scratch my vintage airliner itch. So I'm ready. As well. Now I think I said this back yesterday, but there are other people. I said this earlier, but there are other people who went from University of Illinois. Um, the creator of Microsoft Flight Simulator, Bruce Artwick, he actually he founded Sublogic, which eventually created Microsoft Flight Simulator. He graduated from Illinois in 1976. Um, Larry Ellison founded the Oracle Corporation. JavaScript was from the University of Illinois. Let's see who else as well in terms of military as well. We actually have Medal of Honor recipient Kenneth D. Bailey. For there's been also a lot of senators and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of people from the University of Illinois, lots of alumni, sports players. Hall of Famer Lou Bordeaux played baseball at the University of Illinois. Famous basketball players. Jared Coangelo, the who was a big part of Arizona sports, was from there. But yeah, there's a lot of players. And one of the most famous football alumni, George Halas, the creator of the National Football League, came from the University of Illinois. So like I said, those are, like, people forget, those are big names in the world of sports. And they got their found. Can you recap recent versus old stadiums in the area? Yeah. Let me do something first. Yeah, the recent versus old stadium in the area. Yeah. The absolutely Memorial Stadium is from. Let me go ahead and get that. Illinois. So Memorial Stadium in Illinois was actually was opened back all the way back in 1923 as a memorial to the people who passed away during World War One. It has a seating capacity of 60,000 people. Let me open this up. But yeah, I'll also recap all that stuff too. But that's just from what I know from the University of Illinois as well. But there's also State Farm Center. That's the home of the Illinois basketball program. So this is Memorial Stadium right here. There's the football stadium, and then right there is State Farm Center. That is home of the basketball program at the University of Illinois. Illinois has a pretty big rivalry. They have an in-state one with Northwestern University in Evanston, near Chicago. They also have an in-state rivalry with the Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. They play the Big Ten, so that's kind of how I view it, to me. But if you talk about St. Louis, absolutely. I never got a chance to talk about the St. Louis stadiums yet. I haven't got a mention to that yet, friends all. That football stadium is nearly 80 years old? Yes. But that's not even the oldest college football stadium. In fact, the oldest Division I stadium is actually, I believe, the oldest. I think it's actually Bobby Dodd Stadium, and that's in Atlanta. In Division I football, the oldest Division I football stadium is actually in Philadelphia, believe it or not. Franklin Field. It's in Philadelphia, home to the Pennsylvania Quakers. That stadium opened in 1895. Here we go, Martel. I got the route. Field. Franklin Field didn't just play host to just the Pennsylvania Quakers. It also hosted the Philadelphia Eagles as well. In fact, believe it or not, Franklin Field was also hosted the Army-Navy game 18 times between 1899 and 1935. No problem, Martel. I'm happy to help. Let me get back to the flight plan. No problem. I see Sir Fuzz is the flight with us. Good to see you, Sir Fuzz. I see you in the flight with me. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining with me. Now, the thing about the University of Illinois, now their athletics programs are called the Fighting Alumni, is their athletics program. In other sports, their most successful historically has been their football program. Their other most successful sport has been their men's gymnastics, as they won 10 team national championships. Track and field's pretty good. And men's tennis are sports, but historically, their most well-known program is their football program. And they actually have had a lot of Hall of Fame inductees that played at there for pro football. If this was a college football thing, I'll be mentioning some of their inductees. But if I was talking about the NFL, I would think about some of their Hall of Famers. Most famous pro football Hall of Famers from Illinois include Papa Bear George Halas, the founder of the Chicago Bears, and the founder of the National Football League. That's going to be on in a couple weeks. Ray Nitschke of the Green Bay Packers, and Dick Butkus, the most feared defensive player of all time. Not someone you want to mess with. Flew over the baked-in wind turbine again. Yeah. Oh man, this looks so bright. Here we come, Champaign, Illinois. We do this right. I see that SJ Fly's in the chat. Dougal's in the chat. I recognize you. Good to see you here. Thankfully, in the Cessna 152, we can get there quite a bit faster. Now, I think next week I'm going to take something a bit faster than that, though. But no, basically, for it all, there's also some other massive football stadiums that make many of the European football stadiums look tiny. For example, the highest capacity college football stadium is, by capacity, is the Big House in Michigan, and that stadium can hold 107,000 people. And that's right at Colonel Fork's home university, the Wolverines. And to put that in perspective, in terms of capacity, the largest one in association football. In fact, Michigan Stadium for association football would be the second largest for association football. That means it's larger than stadiums like Camp Nou, FNB Stadium in South Africa, Wembley Stadium in London, and Estadio Azteca in Mexico. It's pretty massive. So, like I said, American football stadiums can be massive. And look at this. Here's already huge improvement. I already now see the photogrammetry. I'm gonna go dive a bit. Set the trend to be a little on the low side. But I already see photogrammetry. It looks so much better now. There's Butters. See you on my left. Oh yes, I can finally see the photogrammetry again. Awesome. I wonder when the Thunderfly is going to show up on my stream. I wonder. But the major issue I want them to get fixed besides... the major one I want to fix is the disappearing stuff. Like, all the players suddenly disappear and then reappear. I hope they get this fixed. Because that is the number one reason that keeps the Thunderflies grounded. And I think more people should see the Thunderflies. Because they're pretty awesome. There it is. Look at this. It's yesterday at this spot. We see auto-generated buildings in this spot, and now we finally see beautiful Champagne in its beautiful, beautiful photogrammetry glory. That was a really annoying bug. I know it was, Martel. That was a really annoying bug. I'm glad they got this fixed today. CEO says they're fixing that for Reno. Yep, I'm heard that is a really annoying bug. That's awesome, Kazaki. Thanks for letting me know. I wonder when the Reno thing is going to come out because I'll definitely pay for that. Get more planes. I may even want to take a few of them. So now we're going to fly straight into the University of Illinois to our left. Now we're heading to Champaign. There's State Farm Center, and there is Memorial Stadium in front of us. There's the University of Illinois right over behind us. Now right in front of us here, this is Memorial Stadium, home of the fine alumni football program. And there's State Farm Arena, State Farm Center, home of the basketball program here in the University of Illinois. We're going to do a simple flyover the football stadium, the American football stadium, I mean. Go alumni. Just kidding. I'm not really a fan of the alumni. I'm more of a Hoosier fan. And for the University of Louisville, of course. But it's nice to fly over. So, once we do the brief flyby, let's get to my nav map. We're going to land straight in runway 22. We're going to make a quick landing. So we'll just go straight in. At Kilo Charlie Mike India. Okay. Just gotta slow down. This should be easy, straight in through a golf course. Entering for the dramatic effect. Gonna put my shoe right here. That was a perfectly smooth landing. Nice. That was a good landing. That was pretty smooth. Okay. Now let's see any other landings. Thanks, Alex D, for the butter smooth landing. That was actually pretty smooth. And there's Kazaki Flyer. Awesome work, Kazaki. Thanks for coming with me today. We're just going to do a quick landing here, then we'll be ready to take off. But yeah, things are going so much better today. I'm so happy. What's your opinion on the collegiate athletes' rights? Great question, Frental. So personally, I'm kind of supportive of the students. It's kind of a slippery slope, but I'm hoping that the student athletes get more rights and stuff, and they get a fair tryout. It kind of reminds me about the free agency stuff about Kurt Flood. And there's Martel. I think he brought his own Cessna 152 here. Good choice. Cessna 152 is a great choice. I was considering the 152 or the DR400 Robin, but I might take the Robin on Sunday. Martel, and there's Captain Butters all the way down here. So I'm going to go ahead, and since everyone's newly landed, so we're going to get back to the So I'm going to settle right here. So for the next destination, for the next stop, we'll be heading to Springfield. So Springfield is known as the capital of Illinois and the 6th largest city in the state. Yes, many people think Chicago's the capital, but in reality, it's actually in Springfield. Now, it was settled here by European Americans in the late 1810s, around the time that the state, Illinois becomes a state. Now, obviously, the notable landmarks include the Abraham Lincoln Library Museum, Lincoln Home, and Illinois State Museum, also the state capitol. Now, notable people, obviously, since the first two have Abraham Lincoln's name, Abraham Lincoln is one of its most famous residents, who lived here from 1837 to 1861. Robin Roberts, the Hall of Fame pitcher of the Philadelphia Phillies, and Ed Barrow, the founder of the Yankees dynasty, was the longtime executive for the franchise. Ferndoll says, is the JP Logistics 152 payware? Nope, it's all freeware. It's on flightsim.to. Colonel Fork is using it. I don't really use the 152 enough, but I believe it's a great mod. So if you like the 152, apparently it's really well worth it. So now we're going to get ready to fly. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do STOL in the 152. And I'm off. Look at that. Full flaps, and I made it off with the 152. That's right, it's a stole plane. I made it go stole. But no, I like the 152. It's all around an excellent plane. And that's why if I like the plane I really want is a bush plane because of the planes I like. But if I were to get one in real life, I think the 152 would be a great plane to get in real life because, like I said, there'd be plenty of parts. It'd be easy to repair, easy to fly. Just all around a great plane. It's an utterly brilliant plane. I see a new flyer. Tragic Yeti 85. Good to see you in the air. I bet you're in the air with me right now, Tragic Yeti. So now we're ready to fly to the second leg of the journey to Springfield. So it's two new planes instead of altering the default version. Cool. Now on Flight Sim TO, I actually have SG Flies 2's his Bush 152. Now, and that thing is pretty fun to fly. It basically turns into a tail wheel stole plane, which is pretty bad if you ask me. So now let's talk about something I do want to talk about. This is the main team I want to talk about. The St. Louis Cardinals, the most successful team in the National League. They were established all the way back in 1882 as the Chicago Brown Stockings, and they currently play in the National League Central Division alongside the Cubs, Reds, Brewers, and Pirates. They are the most successful club in the National League, as they have won 11 World Series championships, 23 pennants, 19 of them in the National League, 4 with the American Association, and 14 division titles. They currently play at Busch Stadium III, as there are 2 previous teams called Busch Stadium, and their team colors are red, white, and blue, and yellow, actually. And one of the fun facts about this team is, despite the fact they're in a mid-level market, they have some of the strongest fan support in the league, as they are top 3 in league attendance and television ratings. Being that they're an incredibly important franchise in the National League. And one of the main reasons for that is because, for the longest time, the Cardinals were the only team really in the Midwest. Until the Royals came around in '69 and the Rockies came around in '93. So the Cards nearly had an unchallenged market, similar to the Braves were. Not nearly as much as the Braves, but still a big deal. After a few poor seasons of baseball in St. Louis during the 1880s, they got their first taste of consistent baseball in 1882. And for 4 seasons, they have dominated the American Association as the Browns. Spoiler alert, they're not the same St. Louis Browns, they're a different Browns team. And they were led by general manager Charles Comiskey, but after the 1891 season, they moved to the National League, and then they had a period of futility from 1892 to 1919, as they only won 5 winning seasons from that time period. And in 1900, they changed their name to the Cardinals, and that name has stuck ever since. And thankfully, though, in 1919, they hired Branch Rickey, who became the instrumental piece. And he really changed the sport. He introduced the farm system to actually raise talent, and that changed the sport. He also was the guy responsible for bringing Jackie Robinson to the major leagues and bringing the integration of baseball. And he also was joined by Roger Hornsby, one of the greatest hitters in Major League history. And with that, the Cardinals quickly turned into contenders in the National League, and in 1926, won their very first World Series title by beating the Babe Ruth-led Yankees. And they also won their first pennant that year, too. 2 years later, the Cards went back to the World Series once again, but the Yankees won against them again for the revenge version. Basically revenge, but I think the best is still yet to come in St. Louis. Then in the 1930s, the St. Louis Cardinals continued their winning ways, led by the Gas House Gang. And basically, for those who don't, who not really know about the Gas House Gang, but the Gas House Gang were called that because, and the reason is because that they have a very shabby appearance and the rough tactics. But thanks to them, the Cards won 2 World Series championships in those years, in 1931 and in 1934. In 1931, they were successful in that World Series, and in 1934 they beat the Tigers for that World Championship as well. For the rest of the 30s, they reached second place finishes in 35, 36, and 1939, led by Cardinal star Johnny Mize, who did not make the list for my legends though. Then, throughout the 1940s, they got one of the greatest players in Major League history, Stan Musial, the greatest Cardinal, and thanks to him, the Cardinals got back to the World Series stage in the 40s, as they managed to beat the Yanks in 42, and 2 years later, they went against the American League St. Louis Browns in the 1944 World Series, yes, across the town, and they actually won the World Series that time to get another championship for St. Louis. In 46, they managed to actually win the pennant in 46. They actually had to do a tiebreaker series against the Brooklyn Dodgers because they finished with the same record, so they need a tiebreaker series. And the Cardinals managed to actually win that. But unfortunately, they did not reach the world. They did not win it all, though. Actually, they actually won the World Series in 46, I forgot. They actually did win the World Series in 46. However, though, after that win, they kind of were in a period of mediocrity as the Dodgers and Giants took over that league. And they fell that way until 1963. In 53, the team was actually sold to Anheuser-Busch. And if anyone has ever heard of Budweiser, well, they're the people that make Budweiser and Bud Light. And in 1963, Stan Musial retires. However, things are actually going to be better for the Cardinals in the 60s. And the reason was, it was a franchise-altering trade. The Cubs were one piece away from contending for a World Series, so they wanted a star pitcher. So the Cardinals traded Bergoglio to the Cubs for a previously unknown player named Lou Brock. And thanks to Lou Brock, in the Associated Field, the Cards managed to win the pennant and beat the Yankees in that year's World Series, while the Cubs got nothing out of it. Basically, again, so yes, the Brewery bought the team, Martell. You're exactly correct. The Brewery bought the team. Yes, the Brewery bought the team. Nice. You have a better show than MIG50. Cool. And basically, this trade was one of the most lopsided trades in history because Lou Brock was a huge piece of those Cardinals teams. And then in '66, the Cardinals moved to Busch Memorial Stadium out of Sportsman Park. And in '67, they managed to beat the Red Sox in a crucial World Series. Again, making the Red Sox curse even worse. Now, the 1968 Cards were particularly special because that year they were led by Bob Gibson. And Bob Gibson that year was ridiculous that year. I'm gonna put up his stats because you'd be surprised how dominant of a season he had. Because Bob Gibson had probably the greatest season of all time. Okay, I got the pitching season. This man won 22 games. He only lost 9 of them. He had an extremely low rating of 1.12 ERA. That meant he only gave up 1.12 runs per game. And opposing batters only had a 184 average against them, which is ridiculous. The only reason he got those 9 losses is because the Cardinals offensively just weren't that great. But he had one of the most dominant seasons pitching of all time. And they faced another team that had great pitching, the Tigers. Because that year, Denny McClain won 31 games. And in the end, the Tigers actually won that series, surprisingly. Because they had better offense. Which is pretty funny. And although the Cardinals were being competitive in the 70s, they were still mediocre. In 1980, Bush hired Whitey Herzog to manage the team, and they became known for a style called Whitey Ball, and that's because they made the team took advantage of the artificial turf by building from speed and defense. And that was great because they actually had great pieces for that, particularly Ozzy Smith. And led by Ozzy Smith, the Cardinals won the World Series in '82, beating the Brewers for their 9th championship. In the 1985, they won the pennant again, and that was led by Ozzy Smith's Game 6 home run. Go crazy, folks, said by the legendary broadcaster Jack Buck. And they faced the in-state Kansas City Royals, the I-70 series. And however, the Cardinals lost in Game 7, and the reason for that was the Game 6 call. During Game 6, there was a mistake, and the Royals base runner was safe, even though he was supposed to be out. And that costed the Cardinals Game 6, and in turn cost them Game 7. And then for the third time in 6 years, the Cards returned back to the World Series against the Twins. And in 7 games, the Twins managed to actually beat the Cardinals just like last time. And Herzog continued to manage the team until Bush's death back in 1989. And then when we get to the 90s, the Cards remained competitive throughout the early years of the 90s, but for the rest of the decade, they were mired in mediocrity. But thanks to new ownership, the Billwoods bought the team from Anheuser-Busch, and they got a brand new manager, Hall of Fame manager Tony La Russa, who previously managed the Oakland Athletics and Chicago White Sox. And thanks to them, in 2000, they managed to make it all to the way to the championship series and winning the division, but they lost to the Mets that series. And then in 2002, with Albert Pujols in the team, they managed to win the National League Central again. It fell to the NLCS. However, during that time, they also acquired Jim Edmonds and Scott Rowland, and thanks to those, the Cards managed to get to the World Series thanks to those 2 new acquisitions for their first pennant since 1982. However, no one was gonna stop the Boston Red Sox from breaking the curse of the Bambino that year, so the Red Sox just swept them. In 2005, they reached the championship series, but the Houston Astros were not going to be denied for the 2nd straight year, so the Astros beat the Cards. However, in 2006, this was finally their year, with Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, Scott Rowland, Jim Edmonds, and Adam Wainwright. They managed to win their 10th championship by beating the Tigers in that series. Despite the Tigers' run, they couldn't do it. And for the rest of the 2000s, the Cards continued to be incredibly successful, but they couldn't make it to the World Series until 2011. The Cards didn't make it as a division. They didn't win the division. They made it as a wild card team. And despite all the odds, beating the Giants and getting to the World Series against the Rangers, they still won it all for their 11th and most recent championship. And in that series, particularly, was a classic one. And in Game 6, David Freese hit 2 clutch home runs in Game 6. Both on the bottom of the 9th and the bottom of the 11th inning. David Freese hit 2 clutch home runs. And then the Cards took Game 7 to win the championship. And that was such a memorable moment for the series. It was definitely an incredible, historic moment for the franchise. Then, for the rest of the 2010s, they continued to be incredibly successful. As in 2013, they won the pennant, but just like 2004, they lost the World Series to the Red Sox. And the Cards continued to be successful in 2014, as again, they won the division again, but they fell to the Giants in the NLCS, who won their 3rd title in 5 years. And basically that Giants team won titles in 2010, 2012, and 2014. So basically in the early 2010s, if it was an even number, the Giants were going to probably win the World Series. And after a few non-competitive years, they returned back to the playoffs in 2019-2020, but they came up short in both those times. The Nationals beat them in 2019 on the latter's World Series run. In 2020, they lost to the Padres in the wild card game. So that concludes on the history of the Cards. Now for the legends, being from a franchise since 1882 and being the most successful team in that National League, there are definitely legends of the Cardinals we need to talk about. The first player on my list is Roger Hornsby, one of the greatest hitters of all time. And not only was he an amazing hitter, his speed was incredible as he led the league in many years in triples. He played for 5 different teams from 1915 to 1937. He wasn't known, in fact, he never smoked or drank in his career, but he did gamble, and he has quite the nasty temperament, if you know what I mean. This guy was a career 358 hitter, and for those who don't know, that meant that's his bat average. It takes the at-bats, hits divided by at-bats, and that 358 means he actually 35.8% of his at-bats were hits, which actually put him second all-time behind Ty Cobb. He has 2,930 hits, 301 home runs, basically the ball clears over the wall, and 1,584 runs batted in. I put in RBIs because it's a bit smaller and be easier to type in. Now, Hornsby was a 2-time National League MVP and Triple Crown winner. And for those who don't know, the Triple Crown is lead the league in batting average, home runs, and RBIs, and he did so twice. This man was a 7-time batting champion, meaning he's one of the best hitters. In fact, he's tied second in batting champions, and 4 times was the national RBI leader. Now Hornsby was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1942, and he was part of the St. Louis Cardinals' inaugural Hall of Fame class in 2014. Meaning he's one of the greatest who ever played baseball. But in fact, as good as Hornsby was for the Cardinals, there was someone even better. Stan the Man Musial. This man is the greatest Cardinal, period. I mean, he spent all 22 seasons with them, and his hitting capabilities are unmatched in his era. Like, no one can match how good Stan Musial was on offense. Defensively, okay, he wasn't great, but offensively, he was just insane. Let's talk about his, he had a career 331 average with 3,630 hits, which puts him 4th all-time, 512 home runs, and 1,951 RBIs, which puts him 6th all-time. So yes, those numbers tell me where he ranks all-time. But the one thing he was known is for his All-Star appearances. He actually has 24 of them, tied with Henry Aaron as the most of any player of all time. A 3-time National League MVP. And like Hornsby, he was a 7-time National League batting champion. And he was twice led the league in NL RBI. And Stan Musial, one of his most interesting facts is that at the time of his retirement, he held or shared 17 different Major League records, 29 National League records, and 9 All-Star Game records. Because Stan Musial is just dominant. He really is one of the most dominant hitters that baseball's ever seen. And many people rank him top 10 all time, and I think he absolutely has earned it. The next player on my list is why that trade was so lopsided back in the 60s. Lou Brock. And he became the speediest base runner of all time and he's one of the speediest of all time. He held the all-time career stolen bases record from 1977 to 1991. He was also a pretty decent hitter too, as while his average wasn't super high, like 293 was a very solid average. He has over 3,000 hits. But it's really those 938 career stolen bases, which puts him 2nd all-time currently. The first all-time is Rickey Henderson, and I want to let you know how many stolen bases that man got. Probably a lot. Lou Brock was a 6-time All-Star, and he was most known for 8 times being the National League leader in stolen bases. And after his playing career was over, he actually thrived as a businessman, mainly as a florist in the St. Louis area. Then we get to Bob Gibson, one of the most feared pitchers of the era. He was not really a nice guy. He was an extremely dominant competitor. And he often threw brushback pitches to intimidate hitters. Now for those who... Now, he had a career 251, 174 record, which means 251 wins, 174 losses, He has a 2.91 ERA and 3,113 strikeouts. In fact, Gibson was the first player to reach 3,000 strikeouts since Walter Johnson, which is pretty insane. He was a 9-time All-Star, the 1968 NL MVP, and twice was the Cy Young Award winner, and not to mention he was also a solid defender. I mean, he also had 9 Gold Gloves. So Bob Gibson, one of the most feared in that 1968 season, was among the greatest of all time. Then we got to Ozzy Smith, the Wizard of Oz, one of the greatest defenders to ever play baseball. And he was also quite a good base stealer too, because, I mean, as shortstop, you want to have speed so you can get to the ball. Now, offensively, he wasn't so great. He did have over 2,400 hits, and he also has 508 stolen bases, but it was really his glove. Just as he has 13 Gold Gloves in addition to his 15 All-Star appearances. And even won a Silver Slugger back in '87, even though offense was not really one of Ozzy Smith's greatest tools. Also, in addition, Ozzy Smith was known for doing his backflips on special occasions because he was just extremely athletic. Definitely, we got 2 more Cardinal legends I want to talk about. The first one being Albert Pujols. Yes, I have to put Pujols here. He is the greatest Cardinal of the 21st century. And at the height of his career, he was the best hitter in baseball. Period. He had power, he had average, he also had really good fielding. It was just that ever since he's been to LA, he kind of dropped off a bit when he went to LA. And I swear, if Pujols never went to Los Angeles, he would probably have even bigger numbers than this, because he had a 297 average with 3,295 hits, which puts him 12 all time. 677 home runs, which is currently 5th all time, first among active players, and 2,145 RBIs, which puts him 4th all time. Yes, 4th. Pujols is a 10-time All-Star, a 3-time National League MVP, 2 times was the Gold Glove Award winner, 6 times Silver Slugger, and 5-time Fielding Bible Award, which puts him as the best fielder in his position. So he could do almost everything but run. And with his 14 seasons of 100 more RBIs, he is only one of 4 players in Major League history to have topped 2,000 RBIs in his career. The only one else to do it, Willie Mays, Alex Rodriguez, and Henry Aaron are the only players with over 2,000. Yes, not even Stan Musial here. He barely missed out on 2,000 RBIs, but Albert Pujols did. But yeah, Pujols is an all-time great. And finally, the last Cardinal is Yadier Molina. Now, I know I'm thinking, those offensive stats don't look good, Viper. So why'd you put him on the all-time legends list? Well, simple. Defense. Yadier Molina is one of the top 2 defensive catchers in Major League history, if not one of the greatest defenders ever. And there was a video I watched. It was called, it was from Baseball Bits. It's called How Good Was Yadier Molina Actually? And in that video, when they count his defense, he was the most valuable defender in Major League history, according to Fangraphs. More so than Ozzy Smith, who we just covered earlier, and more so than Brooks Robinson. Because not only can he frame the baseball really well, he also has a dominant arm. You did not want to run on him. Yadier Molina is a 10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove Award winner, and the 2018 Roberto Clemente Award winner. And Yadier Molina's defense was so good that one of the Diamondbacks team officials for the Diamondbacks actually had a team policy to not run on Yadier Molina. Because if they did, they're going to get thrown out. And trust me, Yadier Molina defensively just benefits the team so much. It doesn't, and it's not like his offense is bad. In fact, catchers aren't really known for offense. And he's only one of only 4 catchers ever to play over 2,000 games at the position, which is just ridiculous. He had longevity, and the fact his defense is that good, which is just incredible. And that is covering the Cardinals for a bit. So for the rest of the flight, we get to actually enjoy some bit of the scenery. I know it's kind of flat. Let me put on a few clouds so I can spice up the scenery a bit. What criteria is the Roberto Clemente Award? Great question. So, for those who don't know, the Roberto Clemente Award was actually named after the famous Pittsburgh Pirate Roberto Clemente, who I covered on my Pittsburgh series as one of the greatest, definitely the greatest player to play out of Puerto Rico, and he's a national hero. But his award, the criteria is that is awarded to a baseball player, MLB player, that best exemplifies the game of baseball, sportsmanship, community involvement, and the individual's contribution to his team, and is voted on by baseball fans and members of the media. The award was first awarded back in 1971, and it was renamed as the Roberto Clemente Award after his death in a plane crash, a DC-7 plane crash, while he was delivering supplies to the victims of the Nicaragua earthquake at the time. So that is the Roberto Clemente Award. And the most recent Roberto Clemente Award winner was Adam Wainwright of last year for the Cardinals. So, yeah. But yeah, that's how they award the Roberto Clemente Award. Great question, you may ask. Great question. Basically, sportsmanship is quite important as well. So, if you don't mind if I talk about other facts for the Cardinals. So, one of the more famous facts about the Cardinals, their uniforms. Now, the Cardinal uniforms are actually quite unique. As, let me pull up the picture for the Arizona St. Louis Cardinal uniforms. So let me go ahead and put those up. Are we heading to KSP at the moment? Yes, we are, Martel. We're heading to Abraham Lincoln Capitol, named after Abraham Lincoln. But I want to show you something. So it's this. This was the first seat. Now, the Cardinals historically have had the birds on top of the bat design. Now, this was first introduced here in 1922. And the story of this actually goes all the way back when Branch Mickey, the general manager at the time, he noticed a beautiful cardboard arrangement of Carter birds on a table at a Presbyterian church in Ferguson. And the arrangement's production was by a woman named Allie Mae Schmidt. Now, her father was a graphic designer, and he helped Ricky make a logo that has now become a staple of the uniform. And in fact, it's even become the main logo for the Cardinals for a long time. And over time, it's been quickly evolved since then. But yeah, this is an iconic baseball uniform, and it definitely gives the Cardinals a unique identity compared to some of the other teams in the league. So, definitely, that's a very iconic logo as well. And the Cardinals uniforms have evolved, and I really like learning about uniforms. And now this is what the Cardinals look like now with the red and blue. You got to see the original, and you get to see the new ones too, which is pretty cool. But it's really cool that they actually have now official uniforms. And this website called Dress to the Nines is in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and you can actually look at the different uniforms each team has worn. For example, we could sort this out by league. Oh, I guess I was on the wrong way. The flight plan on. Excuse me while I use slew mode. Just put this back in the flight plan. I apologize. I got too off track by all this. We can select a team. So we can actually, let's look for a team. National League, American League, or Fair League. So we can go to American League and we can do AL clubs. We can pick all of them. But for us, we're gonna pick Kansas City. We'll be going there next this Sunday. So look at this. We can go to the Kansas City Athletics, and then 69 we got the Royals. We got their Powder Blues. Then eventually to the modern uniforms and such, which is pretty cool. We got all the modern uniforms and such, which is kind of nice. It's definitely something I like to look for as well. So I want to say thank you guys for coming with me today. I've been wanting to redo this flight for quite a while. So I want to thank everyone for coming here to join me. Springfield should be straight ahead, I believe. I believe that's where Springfield's at. It should be straight ahead. Now, Springfield has also got the Illinois State Fair as well. And apparently, according to local rumors, the famed corn dog dish was actually claimed to be made here in Springfield. Now for the runway, we're going to overfly the state fair and land on runway. I think we should probably land in runway 31. Make a quick landing here, and then I'll take off. I've been keep dropping in, but never get to see where you're flying with the screen covered. I'm sorry there, Dougal. Let me give you the route. I'm sorry, Dougal. I had to keep the screen covered so you guys could see the baseball sort of thing. I'm really sorry, Dougal. I had to put on screen so people can actually see my information I was talking about. But I'm flying towards Kilo Sierra Papa Indigo, India. So there's the route. No problem, Dougal. The only reason I covered the screen is because if I made it too small like the slideshow here, if it were too small, then people really wouldn't see it very well. I guess I can make it like right here. I think I probably need to readjust it. Probably like right here. Nope. I appreciate it, Dougal. I just, like I said, constructive criticism. Don't be afraid to give me constructive criticism. If I want to improve my stream, I'd be more than happy to put any constructive criticism. I'm more than happy to do it. It's not your fault that I'm not interested in baseball. No, not worry. I know not all people are interested in it. And that's fine, Dougal. Even though you're not interested in it, that's more than fine. So I just want to see. This is, okay, we're going to get on the co-pilot. Like I said, it's nice to actually have the photogrammetry back in the sim. It's nice to actually have this thing back. And there's the cargo space. You could haul in some goods. Maybe in the case of two cats, he would probably want to say put in a few squirrels in there. You could probably do it with some acorns, nuts. Arctic Turn's in the chat. Good to see you, Arctic Turn. Let me give him a shout out. Arctic Turn actually, he does a lot of charity related streams, so he often streams for a good cause. So don't be afraid to visit Art to Turn. I haven't kept up with you in a while, but I believe you're still doing the charity sort of stuff. I don't see you in the world map for some reason. Maybe check your server and stuff. Yo, thanks for the shout out. No problem, Art to Turn. You've been a pretty big supporter of the channel. I really appreciate it. I wonder what's going to be posted again some other time. So we're flying over Springfield. There's the capital of the buildings. So we're going to be overlooking the state fair here in Springfield. Captain Motors has joined the charity VA. So excited. Oh, awesome. Now that would be fun. I'll get a chance to watch you guys sometime. I won't be afraid to check in. So, what we do one, I'm going to start lowering the altitude a bit. Start dropping a bit. And look at this. I'm still trying to adjust the trim. As well, we see the Illinois State Fair. Actually, I changed the plans. I'm gonna go to runway 22. So change of plans. Just gonna use to bleed off a bit of speed. Going to be a lot of fun. I bet it's gonna be lots of fun. I should probably put it right here. There. I'm gonna land on runway 22. So I'm gonna land at runway 22. So for the drag effect, I'm trying to adjust where I want to put them on the screen. I don't want to block out people's view. Indeed, okay, man. I gotta bet defenestrating some squirrels at school. Defenestrating schools, some squirrels. Oh, that's gonna be good. There's the Illinois State Fair. There's the fairgrounds to our left. Springfield, definitely very cool small town. Also, Springfield's known for their hot chili. That's another thing Springfield's known for. Apparently, it's also home of the horseshoe sandwich, which is an open-faced sandwich consisting of toasted bread, hamburger patty, other meats, french fries, and cheese sauce. That's also been founded in Springfield. T2. Kazaki Flyer. Let's see. Butter's a half a mile away. There's Sir Fuzz. Where was the Simpsons TV show? Great question, actually. So, the Simpsons TV show, is actually in Springfield. Now, the question is, we're in Springfield. In fact, the Springfield on the TV series is actually located in Oregon, believe it or not. Yes, Springfield in Oregon, not in Illinois. And that was confirmed by the creators, actually. to actually be from Springfield, Oregon, not Springfield, Illinois. Doe. Yeah, Doe. Homer Simpson. Doe, Homer Simpson. There's Kazaki in the air. Come on, Kazaki, you can do it. I wonder what Murph's gonna come up on Tuesday. That's gonna be my thing. I wonder what crazy thing Murph's gonna come up on Tuesday. Usually that's the day where Colonel Fork streams, but actually, speaking about Colonel Fork, I know today is his first day on the job. Are you in East USA? Absolutely, dear Dougal. I'm on East USA. And there's Kozaki landing. I also see Butters in a chopper because you're in the helicopter. I'm also on the Two-Tone Murphy Joint FS server, Dougal. That's because of the recent disappearing bug. I also run that server too. And I don't think I see anyone else that has landed. Sir Fuzz is about further ahead. So I'm going to go back and get back in the air once again. I don't want to restart everything. I want to keep going. I'll use Join FS. I'm not seeing you. Yeah. East USA is not particularly the most stable. There's 30-40 and we're up. Yes. I'm treating this as a bush plane. So this is Springfield Abraham Lincoln Capital International. There's the Air National Guard. I'm back in the air, Martel. Now let me see if we can try something interesting. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, no. Okay. I wanted to try something a bit silly, but I was trying to do an epic loop. 420 plays it. Viper Strike trying to do an epic loop. I failed. Quite badly. Hey, Dougal McTavish is in the air. Awesome. That's awesome, Dougal. You're in the air with me. Wonderful. Now, we're going to fly to the Illinois State Capitol. I think I see it up ahead on the map. Okay, barrel roll in the Cessna 152. I did it. Yes. Now there's the Oak Ridge Cemetery. Now we're going to fly over what would be the World War II Memorial here in Springfield. Oh, no, no. Oh, darn. I was trying to show you good flips, but I guess there are some days I just wanted to. But this is not the Aero Bat, so I can't do the same tech trips. Is there any artwork like Joint FS that allows VATS in planes? That I don't know. Joint FS is really the only system I know for it all. Gotta love the MSFS servers, lol. Yep. But I don't think there's any other ones, I don't believe. I know Joint FS will let you see a few of the other things. But I guess there's not really much. I don't really know that much about servers. Maybe ask Murph or someone else who's been around more. Captain Seppi. Hey Seppi, good to see you. So right here, guys, is the Illinois State Capitol to our left. So this here is let me keep this here level. There is the famed Illinois State Capitol in its full beautiful glory. See, if this was non-programmatory, this would be all autogen. But no, we get to see the beautiful. Welcome, welcome, Captain Seppi, my good friend. Amazing friend to the channel, one of my great supporters. Yep, it just worked about at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The photogrammetry was actually working, Seppi. So let me give you a shout out. Now, Captain Seppi's usually streaming on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays as well. But yeah, photogrammetry's worked. The server issues finally been fixed. I get to actually enjoy photogrammetry scenery like everyone else should. So we just got out of Springfield, Illinois, and now we're heading to St. Louis for the final leg of the journey. We're going to be visiting over. We're going to pay a visit to Busch Stadium, the Gateway Arch, and the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're going to pay a visit to those St. Louis icons today. And look at this! I already got a few people: Kazaki, Martel, Captain Butters, and Dougal Batavish. All are and Sir Fuzz are with me in this flight. So we got multiple people joining me on this flight today. I thank you all for being here. Like I said, I don't stream usually on Mondays. I stream usually on Fridays and Sundays. But with the photogrammetry back, Seppi, I can finally actually truly do the flight the way I wanted it to be. I also see Joey Bolo's in the chat. Bolo, I think I see you in the chat. My good friend Joey. You're in the chat. My fuel's a little low. This was a bit of a longer one, but this is the final leg. But yeah, this is really nice. This is very beautiful as well. Ayo, Viper Strike. I'm doing great, Joey. Good to see you, Joey Bolo. It's great seeing you here, Joey. So yes, as you can see, the photogrammetry is actually working for me this time. I actually have photogrammetry stuff. I just went over Springfield. There's actually photogrammetry. It's actually working. It's awesome. It's amazing. And on my nav map, we're heading out of Springfield, and we're entering into St. Louis for the final leg of the trip. So yes, it's all working again, and thank God. You weren't there Sunday, Joey, but Sunday there was that photogrammetry bug because of the being data stuff. and it just looked plain, and all the what should be photogrammetry areas are all auto-genned. Not a problem, Joey. Joey's a content creator on here too, on Twitch. He streams later at night, like around at midnight, I believe. And he usually does flight sim content of his very own. So I'm here with the Cessna 152. This is the base version, but this is a classic. It's a very easy plane to fly, easy to maintain, easy to level, and because it's such a popular aircraft, it's just a good all-around choice for the flight tonight. Now there is a mod on flightsim.to, and that is the JP Logistics. And that one apparently is a really good mod to have. This will be my first time seeing St. Louis. I know, St. Louis is awesome. St. Louis is an awesome city. I actually crossed over St. Louis more than a few times. Yeah, St. Louis is cool. It's got a lot of history, and it's got a lot of stuff to it. But fun enough, Bush. There's a lot more to St. Louis than you think. I've driven through many times. St. Louis is cool. It's called the Gateway of the West for a reason. And speaking of St. Louis, let me go ahead and put this up. St. Louis, for those who don't really know, St. Louis is called the Gateway to the West. And it's the second largest city in Missouri. Now, the city itself was actually named after King Louis IX of France, and he ruled during the 1200s. And the city's been known as is famous for being the embarking point of the famed Lewis and Clark expedition, which took them across all the way to the Pacific Northwest in the state of Washington, Oregon, and Washington State. And this expedition was definitely one of the most famous in American exploration. Now, there have been notable landmarks. Obviously, the Gateway Arch is by far the city's most iconic landmark. But Busch Stadium, the classic baseball, is already a modern classic baseball park. A modern classic in the ballparks. It's one of the best ballparks in the major leagues. And the Anheuser-Busch Brewery here in St. Louis, which is who makes Budweiser. There are other ones too. Enterprise Center is the home of the St. Louis Blues hockey team. St. Louis University is located there, and the old Missouri State Capitol. Now, some notable people include Major League Baseball legend Yogi Berra, Adolphus Busch, one of the co-founders of the brewery, and the famous rapper Nelly has called St. Louis its home. In addition to Nelly, I think there's quite a few other St. Louisians I do want to talk about. There's people, and there is a lot of people. But there are some other people, including, in fact, there's a lot of people from St. Louis. Cool Papa Bell lived through St. Louis for all those years, and he's one of the greatest players in the black baseball leagues. You have Gussie Busch, who is the president and CEO of the brewery. How about Carey, the former, the legendary Cardinals and Cubs announcer? Harry Carey and his family are from St. Louis. You actually have, let's see, who else? There's a lot of other ones from St. Louis. Let's see. There's a lot of people from St. Louis. I mean, there's a lot to pick from. T.S. Eliot, who is the Nobel Prize and Presidential Medal of Freedom Award winner. Um, hmm. There's a lot of people. Brian Howard, the former Philly star. Brian Howard. Let's see. Scott Joplin, the King of Ragtime, was born in St. Louis. There's just a lot of people from St. Louis. Max Scherzer, baseball legend. Yeah, there's just a lot of people from St. Louis. There's just a lot. So is the Bush family still in the brewery? The Bush. Um, actually, about the Bush family, it's spelled it's Bush. It's Bush. It's German. But the Bush family, great question you may want to ask. So basically, the Bush family is still in the brewery company. Yes, the most recent, the last, they're no Bush family. They're actually no longer in control of the company. The owner, now the new owner of Bush is owned by a subsidiary of the company, InBev, and InBev is basically all the way in Belgium. And basically, that group is 3 different mergers of Interbrew, InBev from Brazil, and then Anheuser-Busch. So yeah, that's a great question about St. Louis. Sorry, that was in our family. No, it's good. The Bush family is for political people. The Bush is different name. That's why they have the strange Belgian beer after the brewery tool. Yep, that's because it's company. Yikes, that's what what's left of Ida's passing overhead now. Oh yeah, you have live weather, right? Okay, let me try live weather. It's passed overhead now. Oh, oh, oh no. Uh, you're not kidding, Kazaki. Oh great. Now I can't see. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Kazaki. Now I can't see anything. And you. Yeah, I can hear lightning. I don't usually use live weather because I want to see the visibility of the ballparks and such. I'm going to set the trim down a little bit lower. Now, obviously, St. Louis is right on the banks of the famed Mississippi River as well. Here in Alabama, not in Illinois. Ah, gotcha. I hope you could do IFR. Actually, I hope you can do IFR. I've done IFR stuff in the past. It's just, I'm much more of a VFR kind of guy, Martel. But good question, actually. That's actually a great question, Martel. But I'm more of a VFR kind of guy. I like the low and slow, taking the sightseeing. Now, if I fly airliners or even just some of the business jets, I could definitely fly VFR. I'm at IFR, but I'm more of a VFR kind of guy. The only IFR I do is following roads. I follow roads. So there you go. The modded IFR I2 is IFR rated at the stock one. Yeah, that's because the JP Logistics one has autopilot, whereas the normal 152 does not. That's the main difference. Fun challenge to fly an entire IFR flight without autopilot in the 3v20. Oh. Uh, I don't. I've done flights um, with the A320, but like I said, I know next to nothing in an A320. The A320 is not a plane I fly. How would you do that with the non-IFR? That's not my thing, if you know ask me. I see Muse fans in the chat and Captain Jerry Lyle. Good to see you. So yes, we're on our final leg of the trip. We're heading to St. Louis downtown. I'm taking the Cessna 152. Feel free to join me on the East USA server. Just pick General Aviation Planes. And on the closest airport to my navigation, let me pull this bad boy up. There's quite a few options you can actually catch up with me with. Google's right next to me, apparently. I think of someone good we might raid. I think I found a new raid target for once we get done with the St. Louis trip. Hey dude, not going to join, just go to bed, but popped in. No worries there, Muse fan. I just wanted to say hello to you in the chat. It's great seeing you, Muse fan. That's more than fun. But thank you for being here, Muse fan. You're more than welcome to say hi in the chat. Yeah, I can't believe things are going great today. I'm so happy we got a lot of viewers here today. I'm very, very happy. But yeah, it's beautiful out here today. I know it's flat, but I mean, it's beautiful flat. Especially with the... We should get... I don't think we're very far. According to my... Okay, let me pull up the distance. We are still around 30 nautical miles away from our final destination. As well. So let's pull up the wheel. So that's kind of cockpit. I know it looks plain, but I mean, there's the VFR. But I'm not really a VOR kind of stuff. Like I said, I don't usually fight VFR. I just put my points into um, on a nav thing and try to follow the flight plan for my nav map. That's what I do. Also, there's some pretty interesting St. Louis Cardinal facts. One of the most interesting facts is one St. Louis Cardinal by the name of Fernando Tatis, the father of actually current Padres star Fernando Tatis Jr. Fernando Tatis Sr. In 1999 became the only player in Major League history to hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. And a grand slam basically is that you hit a home run with all 3 bases occupied by base runners. And he did so twice in 1 inning. Which is pretty funny, but, I mean... Not to mention there are other awards. 4 of the 16 batting triple crowns in Major League history were by Cardinals. Were all by St. Louis Cardinals. In fact, Tip O'Neill won one, who was another Cardinal. Roger Hornsby became the only 2-time winner in National League history. Joe Menwick won one. Basically, 4 Cardinals actually got the Triple Crown. There were 10 no-hitters thrown by Cardinal pitchers in franchise history. The most recent being in 2001 by Bud Smith. So that's pretty interesting thing. The franchise itself has actually been worth, in terms of market, $1.9 billion worth as of 2018, which makes them 7th of all major league teams with worth, which is pretty impressive. The problem is sometimes when I talk about these things, I kind of deviate off the flight plan. I'm really sorry. Sometimes I deviate way off the flight plan. I'm really sorry. I sometimes deviate off the flight plan. And since I don't have autopilot, it's going to make me really hard. can see some of you on the nav map. I guess I could always put this position here. Let me go ahead and turn off all the other stuff. I don't know how big it is, but maybe I should use that to keep an eye. Are Wisconsin Badgers really doing well in college sports? Good question. Wisconsin Badgers. Now we went to Madison on I think 2 weeks ago. We went to Madison, Wisconsin. Now to visit the University of Wisconsin. Now the Badgers, football wise, actually aren't doing too badly. I know that college football hasn't been super great for Wisconsin, but Wisconsin football's historically done pretty well in the Big Ten in recent years for football. For basketball wise, Wisconsin actually took home a national championship. Actually, they nearly got to the Final Four in 2015. But they made it to the tournament, and then ice hockey, historically, Wisconsin's did pretty good in there for ice hockey. And finally, baseball, not so much. Wisconsin has not been that great of a baseball program. In fact, Wisconsin doesn't have baseball anymore. They discontinued in 1991. So, counting Butters, Wisconsin actually, they don't have a baseball program. That was discontinued back in 91. But football, they're doing very well in football. They've been incredibly successful in college football. As for baseball, I think the best baseball program in the Big Ten right now is Indiana. Has been the best one so far recently. In recent years, Indiana has been very, very solid in baseball. And then 2019 was Michigan Wolverines. Good night says, Muse fan. Take care, Muse fan. Thank you for coming by on my stream today. Thank you so much for coming by. It's really hard to fly sometimes with this hand. I want to make it bigger so it'd be easier to see. What kind of solutions should I do? Just do. Okay. My dad got his doctorate at the University of Wisconsin. That's cool. Wisconsin's actually pretty highly ranked academics too. Like all members in the Big Ten Athletic Conference in that are very highly academic ranked. Even Ohio State is highly ranked. So what's your local university there, Kazaki? I'm curious, what local university are you talking about? Because there's quite a bit of universities. There's Cap Jack Wild ahead of me. Good to see you, Lyle. There, I think this works because that way I can get back to the flight plan a lot earlier. Plus, it'll let you keep you guys track of where I'm flying. So I think if someone really good to raid, I'll let you all know who I'm going to be raiding. So for my university is all the way in Indiana. It's Indiana University Southeast. But for my university, though, I support the University of Louisville, which is on my T-shirt. It says Louisville football. Gotta support the Cards. That's probably also why another reason why they took the Cardinals. I know that my university is a basketball powerhouse in basketball, historically. University of Louisville has had incredible successful basketball. But they also have a pretty successful football program. Well, they haven't won a national championship. Louisville football is actually very popular in the city. And Louisville baseball's been a recent powerhouse in recent years. While they haven't won any championships in baseball, they're a rising program. We have a really good women's basketball program too. So Louisville actually, and our soccer program's pretty good too. Our women and men's soccer have actually been pretty good too. So Louisville's actually got really solid programs in there. In fact, Louisville baseball this past year just had a new #1 draft pick. This year. 7 former Cardinals have appeared, but Louisville baseball's had many former alumni. That include Adam Engel. Adam Duvall used to play at University of Louisville, and we have him. We have Brandon McKay, who's playing for the Rays. Will Smith, he's currently the catcher of the Dodgers right now. He's playing pretty solid baseball. And then obviously, in terms of Major League draft picks in Major League Baseball, Nick Solak is in the major leagues. He's from the University of Louisville. And then, obviously, Baseball Almanac. Reed Demetres is in the major leagues. And then finally, the #1 draft pick overall from the University of Louisville in the most recent draft, Henry Davis was selected #1 overall for the Pirates. Is there a sports team called the Red Wings? Yes. The Detroit Red Wings. They are Colonel Fork's favorite team. The Detroit Red Wings are one of the most successful ice hockey teams of all time, and definitely the most successful one in the United States. Yes, the Detroit Red Wings are very popular. Mike Hobbs from Blink-182 is live at Twitch at the moment. Don't think he plays MSFS though. No, I think after the stream we should probably raid Jay Winokur. I think we should raid Jay Winokur's stream. I think he would be really appreciative if we can raid his channel. I think he would appreciate it. Give his channel some bit of support. We're a fellow YouTuber. Now we get to talk about the last 3 things from the slideshow. First is Sportsman Park. Sportsman Park was opened in 1902. Now, it was the home of the Cardinals from 1920 to 1966. In addition, the St. Louis Browns, the American League team that played in St. Louis, played there from 1903 to 1953. And from the 60s and such, the St. Louis football Cardinals actually played, and the National Football League played there too for a few years. Yes, that's right. There were two sports teams in St. Louis called the Cardinals. So, if you're an average fan, like, how can you tell them apart? One plays baseball, one plays football. Now, it had a seating capacity of 30,000 people, and the outfield dimensions were 351 in the left field, 379 in left center field, 422 at center field, 354 at right center field, and 310 in right field. Yes, I put these dimensions like this because in baseball, the outfield dimensions can vary. Sometimes they're symmetrical, but other times they have some variation. Some of the most unique features include that out-of-town scoreboard to our left, a shrubbery area to the right field, and then right here is double-deck seating throughout the rest of the stands. Now, some notable events: the 1926 World Series, the first World Series played in this park. The 1926 National League Tiebreaker Series. And finally, Eno Slaughter's mad dash in the 1946 World Series against the Red Sox. One of the more iconic moments in Cardinals history. And right now, at the side of the ballpark is the Herbert Hoover Boys and Girls Club. And that is where the site is now being held today. Next is Busch Memorial Stadium, or Busch Stadium II. Now, Busch Stadium was opened in '66 and was the home of the Cardinals from 1966 to 2005. Now, it has a seat capacity of 50,000, and like other multi-purpose stadiums at the time, this thing has symmetrical field dimensions. In addition to being the home of the Cardinals, it was the home of the St. Louis football Cardinals, and later on, the St. Louis Rams played there. Now, the most notable events of the park include the 1985 NLCS Game 6 home run by Ozzy Smith, called "Go Crazy, folks, go crazy," voiced by the legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster Jack Buck. Mark McGwire's 60-second home run in 1998 to break Roger Maris's record, even though some people think that Roger Maris should still keep the record due to the steroids that Mark McGwire had. And the 1982 World Series, when the Cardinals won it all in '82, were notable moments here at Busch Memorial Stadium. And finally, the last slideshow stuff is here in Busch Stadium. Now, Busch Stadium III, or known as Busch Stadium, was opened back in 2006 as the current home of the team. It has a seat capacity of 46,000, with the outfield dimensions being nearly symmetrical, except for the fact that right field is actually 1 foot shorter at 335. The rest is 336, 375, and 400 feet. Now, some notable features here include the Fred Bird store, the Ballpark Village, and an amazing view of downtown St. Louis. It's been nicknamed Baseball Heaven because it is Baseball Heaven. It is St. Louis. Now, notable events at the park, they include the 2009 MLB All-Star Game, the 2006, 2011, and 2013 World Series games have been played here in Busch Stadium, and the 2017 NHL Winter Classic. Yes, they actually played an ice hockey game out here. And that's basically what it is. Now, for one last thing, you can see the arch, I can see the arch, we all can see the arch. Now, let me show you about Ballpark Village. Ballpark Village, for those who don't know, was planned to open with the ballpark, but after a set of delays, this is Ballpark Village. Ballpark Village, for you don't know, is a multi-entertainment system and area. And basically, their sports bar right there in the outfield will be hopefully flying over it, but they actually opened it back. There's shops, you can eat and drink, events at the park. There's even rooftop seating in the village. There's events, you can shop here at there. They got Cardinals Authentic Shop, baseball, Majestic, Arch Apparel, St. Louis inspired stuff. You can do ticketing, reservations, all that sort of stuff at Ballpark Village. We must visit the arch. Of Of course we're going to fly through the arch. We are in St. Louis, and that completes our ballpark tour. And yes, we must fly through the arch. Now, if you guys don't mind, when we fly over the ballpark, don't mind if I active pause so I can show you around some bits of the ballpark. There's also quite a few other things I'd like to show you. I'm going to power down a bit so we can fly just a little lower to the ground so we can see things a bit easier. So the first is we're going to fly over the Sportsman Park site here in St. Louis, and it is absolutely stunning here in St. Louis. St. Louis is lovely in the sim. It's absolutely lovely in the sim. Any comments on multi-purpose stadiums and recent trends? Great question actually. With how much like stadiums are costing, there might be a return to this in the future, especially with economics and such. In the recent trends, I know after the 90s, there are specific ballparks and stadiums coming that was made in the 90s. However, with how much things are costing now, we could see multi-purpose stadiums return. But I'm hoping that maybe they take the lessons learned from the previous multi-purpose stadiums and try to make seating that's better for both baseball and football. Maybe have grandstands that can automatically adjust itself, like that can automatically move, so that way you get good views of both baseball and football. I think if they do that, I think the multi-purpose stadiums can work again. I think that's just kind of how I view it there, friends all. But great question. Yeah, keep up with the questions. I'll be more than happy to try and answer to the best of my abilities. Here's my I got the nav map up. We should be near the Fairground Park. Okay, there's Fairground Park to my right. Now we should be flying over the it's right here in this area. Right here is the Herbert Hoover Boys and Girls Club. Right here is where Sportsman Park once stood, here in St. Louis. There's the Boys and Girls Club of Herbert Hoover. Now we're going to fly over to the next destination. We're going to fly over the University of St. Louis. St. Louis University is located here. So St. Louis University is a private Jesuit university here in St. Louis. Their school name is one of the most unique in all of college sports. They're known as the Billikens. And we're going to fly over Chaffee's Arena, home to their basketball program. Yes, the Billikens are actually the team official name of St. Louis University, which is kind of cool. It's a very unique nickname. No one's college sports collegiate programs called the Billikens, but this is unique. Then we fly towards Enterprise Center. Now, Enterprise Center is the home of the St. Louis Blues, the Stanley Cup champions of 2018. Actually, they're the 2019 Stanley Cup champions of the Hockey League. There's a St. Louis Aquarium down below us. We got a couple more. Then we got the Dome at American Center. This was the longtime home of the St. Louis Rams from 1996 to until the team relocated in 2014 2014, I believe, 2014 through 2015 or 2016, until the Rams moved back to Los Angeles, and I don't know why the Rams even moved from Los Angeles. I still question it to this day. Then the famed Gateway Arch. I don't remember when the Gateway Arch was built. I apologize. Oh, I'm going to try something really risky. No one's ever done this before. Here it goes. Oh, I pulled it off. Oh, I'm a genius. I'm better than the butterflies. Don't at me, bro. Yep, we did it. Okay, now we're done with Flight through the Arch. Now, here's Busch Stadium down here. If you guys don't mind, I put on the active pause once we get over the stadium. Awesome. Okay. Active pause. Let me put up the drone camera. Now, this here is the entrance to Busch Stadium. I can see it's modeled pretty okay in the sim. Big hand for that maneuver. So this is Busch Stadium. Now, it's got the steel entrance. Right here is the gate area where there's some statues of Cardinal greats that are located over here. This here is the scoreboard area. Now, right here is an area called Big Mac Land, named after the Big Mac Burger, where Mark McGuire calls himself Big Mac. And then this here is the Ballpark Village with the rooftop seating. This is Ballpark Village, what it looks like in the sim compared to the picture we saw in real life. And I mean, look at that. You got a view of the St. Louis Arch. It's an incredible view. Really, really nice view. It's got great seating. And it's not hard to see why it's called Baseball Heaven, because St. Louis loves their baseball. So there it is. And then finally, we get to one last thing we're going to visit. We're going to finish the tour at Anheuser-Busch. They are the brewing company here in St. Louis, the local historic brewery. Then once we do that, let me pull up the airport on my nav map. After we go take a visit there, we're going to go land at runway 12 right, and that will complete our St. Louis tour. So, thank you all for being with me today. We're going to fly over the brewery and we're going to land. So, hey, Splasher6, welcome. Galen, how's the photogrammetry today? The photogrammetry is excellent, Splasher. It's working perfectly today. It's finally fixed, and Splasher6 actually does streams here on Twitch as well. Now, Splasher6 is usually be doing his Pan American Highway Tour. He does things every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Time or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, don't be afraid to give him a shout. And he also does things for fun on Friday nights. And this here is the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Right here. There's the brewery company making all your Budweisers and stuff are made here. Now, there's also other operating plants, not just besides St. Louis, but in 12 other locations too. Yep. There we go. St. Louis is complete, but the photogrammetry should be perfect today. Awesome. I know. I'm super happy. I got it back today, and you know what? I decided, to finish the rest of the flight, This flight could have not gone any better today. And we're going to land on 12 right. And then once we did this, thanks for the mention, St. Louis looks good. I know St. Louis looks wonderful today. Quality things are better. No problem there, Splasher. We're going to go for the landing, and that's going to complete the final part of the journey. I'm gonna turn off the power. I'm actually gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut off the engine. I'm gonna do a dead stick landing. Good that bruising your spine. Homer Simpson would agree. Yes. Now this is something Bush League Legends has to make me do. Dead stick. Oops. No, I'm not doing dead stick. Joey Bolo's here, Captain Butters. But seriously, thank you all for coming. This is awesome. Thank you everyone for joining me on this flight. I'm just happy we got this all working here today. Now watch Viper Strike do his stole landings. Look at that. Viper just did a stole landing. And this says no 152. There you go, guy. And that completes the journey, guys. That's it. Let's see everyone else try to land. There's Martel and Kazaki Flyer. Captain Butters and Joey Bowles ahead. Captain Butters in the H145. That's currently on access in the Alpha. You guys have been amazing tonight. Thank you so much for the turnout tonight. I was not expecting the turnout tonight, but I'm super happy on how this went. And I'm glad that I finally got to manage to finally redo this flight and do this properly this time. Especially how Sunday did not go well, but tonight was a great, great night. Thank you. Now we get to see the landings. There's Kazaki Flyer. Joey Bowl is in a chopper. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. Oh wait, I need to do that. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. So is the H145 much better than the 135? Now, I never really got to fly the helicopters. And trust me, for all, I am not the chopper person. I'm probably the last person you want to fly in a helicopter. Even Murph's much better at flying the chopper than me. And Murph could be a full size, but even I know he can land that chopper better. Martel's down. Captain Butters is down. You need photogrammetry for your tours. Yes, I do need photogrammetry. Because unlike many of the other wonders in the sim, the stadiums need photogrammetry. So I do need them for my tours. That's why my Sunday stream did not go very well. Like, bush trips, okay, I can deal with it, but for this baseball sort of tour, I need them, and most of the cities I go to have photogrammetry, so. And Kazaki's down as well. So I wanted to thank everyone here on stream, and I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Thank you guys so much. Seriously, I want to thank everyone here who's watched, who's chatted, who's flown with me. I want to say thank you everyone for doing this. This went so much better than yesterday. It's not funny. Now for the raid tart. Before we end the stream, I'll tell you about my Friday plans. On Friday, for my next bush fight series, we'll be heading to the evergreen state of Washington State, and we'll be flying around through some of the natural beauty of Washington State in the Bush League Legends X Cup, modded by Bush League Legends. And then on Sunday, we will have a play ball. We'll take its trip all the way to Kansas City, Missouri. We'll be visiting the Kansas City Royals, and we'll talk about the history of the black baseball era. And that's kind of my plans for this upcoming week. Thank you guys for the positive comments. Now, I think I know who we should rate tonight. I think Jay Whitaker's on, and I think we should be rating him tonight. How's that sound, guys? Let's rate him. So, I want to say thank you for everyone for being here today. And I hope to see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.